1 in 4 women will become a victim of domestic violence in their lifetime. That's more than breast cancer, ovarian cancer, and lung cancer combined. Every day, 3 women are killed by an intimate partner, and every 9 seconds, a woman is battered. 98% of these women are trapped because of financial control abusers have over them. Violence against women is an appalling human rights violation, but it is not inevitable. We can put a stop to this.
On April 13, 2013, my life was forever changed when my then boyfriend called me into the restroom of my house and doused me with industrial-grade sulfuric acid. He refused to rinse me off, and as a result, I sustained 3rd and 4th degree burns to over 20% of my body, including my entire face. I've had numerous surgeries. I'm entering into my 13th surgery right now. I was in a coma from April 28th of 2013 until the middle of June of 2013. I awakened from the coma to realize that my abuser had not been charged. Once I was able to leave the hospital, I went straight to the Henry County Police Department to file an accurate police report. My case was reopened. My case has been throughout the media, local and national media, and recently international media. And my goal has been to increase awareness, not just of my case, but of the issue of domestic violence in general, to raise funds to aid me in my survival. My children and I's survival. My medical costs have been astronomical. And also to shed light on this story to help in the justice process. It took me a year. My abuser was finally charged this year on April 10, 2013 with 4 felonies against me for the acid attack. We are currently awaiting trial. We expect to be going to trial around the first part of 2015. My immediate goal right now is to continue my reconstructive process. I would like to get back to my life. I was a professional counselor, something I was called to do. I would like to get back to doing that. I am not able to fully financially take care of me and my children. So I started a foundation, the Christy Sims Foundation, to initially help me in rebuilding my life. But my goal ultimately, because it is a helper that I am, I'd like to be able to help other survivors of domestic violence. The name Courageous Christy is something that I have been a little uncomfortable with. It sounds like some type of superhero or something. But it's a name that was given to me while I was still in a coma in the hospital. My friends realized that my life had been turned upside down. My favorite book is a book called Courageous Souls. And this book is about people who come to this life and they have more challenges than the average person, and other people grow and develop as a result of watching these courageous souls go through their challenges. And so my friends gave me this name on a personal level, and it's something that just blew up. The media attached to it, and it's become my name, and as a result of the work that I've done in the past year, just advocating, speaking out, being transparent about my story, I began to actually walk in that title. The Christy Sims Foundation was established to help other survivors and their children of domestic violence. Our goal is to help people rebuild their lives after they've been abused, but also to establish programs to prevent the abuse to begin with.
Live life for what tomorrow can bring and not what yesterday has taken away. Every day is a gift.
I am victorious over domestic violence. I say victorious because for many years I lived in an abusive relationship. I had no self-esteem, no dignity. All of that had been stripped from me. I didn't know which way to go. Actually, when I was in that situation, I didn't even have the language to articulate what was happening to me. However, I did find myself out of that situation, and it was only by happenstance that I realized that what was happening to me had a name, it had a title. And once I realized that, I knew then what it was. And so I made plans to get away from that situation. I had been called all kinds of names, had been abused in every way possible. Sexually abused, emotionally, verbally, financial, because there were times when I was forbidden to work as well. There would be times when I had to beg for money. If I asked for $5 to get a pair of pantyhose, it was, I just gave you $5 last week. What did you do with that money? I was controlled in every kind of way. However, in time, I realized that I couldn't do that anymore. And so I broke free. I got that yoke from around my neck. That's what I like to call it. And once I became free, I had no education because I was not allowed to pursue an education when I was in that relationship. But once I was free from it, I was able to go back to school, get a bachelor's degree, and eventually get a master's degree. I really liken myself to a phoenix. A phoenix is this heraldic bird in Greek mythology that kills itself, it burns itself on a pier, and it dies. And then it rises from the ashes to newness of life. And that's how I compare myself to this phoenix. It seems like a part of me died when I was in that relationship. And now I have arisen from the ashes of degradation, despair, into a new life. And I celebrate my life each day because I'm free from that. And I know now that I went through it so that I could help and encourage other women. I've written a book. The book is not written for sensationalism, but it's written in a way that will give women hope and in a way that will help them to realize that there is life after abuse. You can do anything, you can be anything. There are many, many agencies out there to help you. I am victorious because I found the help that I need, especially through the Sisters of Domestic Violence organization. They were there for me when I needed it. And we'll be there for you when you need it. The Sisters Against Domestic Violence organization is a 501c3 nonprofit organization serving the citizens of Clayton County. For the past 7 years, we have provided such services as shelter for women and their children who are fleeing domestic violence, or for anyone who calls on their behalf. We provide support to these women. We offer them a safe haven when they're fleeing. We have a clothes closet that provides clothing for them because some of these women flee with just what's on their backs. We provide school supplies for their children. We offer them job readiness preparation, that is resume preparation, that is job interview skill preparation. Also, we have a transitional housing program that helps the women get established in places of their own. They're allowed to stay in the transitional housing program until they're ready to get out on their own. At Christmas time, we provide toys for the children. During the school year, we provide school supplies for needy children. At Thanksgiving, we provide Thanksgiving baskets for these women and their families. We also offer support. We refer them to counseling outside of our organization for those areas and those concerns that we're not equipped to provide. We also have support groups. We have a teen dating program for those women who come into the program with teenagers. And we also do programs at the local middle and high schools, especially on teen dating violence.
Fear will fade in time, and you will become stronger than you have ever imagined.
Domestic violence is a societal issue. It is not a personal issue. It is not an issue of race, social and economic status, gender. It's definitely not a woman's issue. It is everyone's issue. It is everyone's issue because it affects our society. It's something that as serious as substance abuse, HIV, all those other things that we are trying to eradicate, domestic violence is just something that people consider to be personal, sometimes shameful. And the community can help just by having dialogue, by talking about this situation. There is no one solution to the issue of domestic violence, but there are several things when done in conjunction that can eradicate it. I actually worked for a man, Charles Sperling, that has designed a program called Provocation. Provocation actually focuses on the problem, which is the abuser. We spend a lot of time focusing on the victim, the survivor. But if you can eradicate the problem before it becomes a problem by establishing counseling programs, and as a counselor this means a lot to me, you can sometimes prevent this problem before it becomes a problem. And so as a solution-oriented person, I'm excited about this program, Provocation. It's a 12-week counseling program directed toward abusers or potential abusers.
Domestic violence, also known as intimate partner violence, is assaultive and coercive behavior used against one partner to gain control over the other partner. Usually, it's men exercising this control over women, although there are men who are abused as well. Domestic violence can take on many forms. It can be sexual, it can be financial, it can be psychological, and even verbal.
Domestic violence is a major crime here in Clayton County. As of right now, we have prosecuted approximately 1,098 cases. That means we've had over 1,000 victims of domestic violence. Most individuals think that domestic violence is between a husband and wife, but domestic violence, as the state of Georgia has termed it, could also be between a boyfriend, girlfriend that are living together, former spouses, former husband, wife and husband, grandparents. It's a myriad of definitions of what could be termed as domestic violence. We've found here in Clayton County that we have a tremendous problem. A lot of people think that domestic violence is a silent crime, that they should not speak of it. We beg to differ. We think that individuals should speak up, because the only way that we're going to get rid of this problem is for people to speak up and speak out, and we can prosecute these individuals. Usually we found that individuals that are victims of domestic violence will also be victims that probably will be killed later on. Throughout the county, people have probably seen these wooden red statues or silhouettes of people. Well, on the chest of those silhouettes are those individual stories. These are women and men that have been killed by a domestic partner after going through some type of abuse. So usually the month of October is the month that people focus on for domestic violence, but my office focuses on domestic violence yearly, because it's a yearly problem for us.
1 in 3 women report being a victim of domestic violence. 1 in 5 women report being a victim of sexual assault. 60% of Americans 15 years of age or older know a victim of domestic violence or sexual assault. Among 70% of women have experienced domestic violence and told someone about it, and more than half said that no one helped.
Most domestic violence incidents are never reported.
One of the very and most important signs of abuse, and this starts early on, is that of isolation. The perpetrator will isolate the victim from family, from friends, from associates. He may even not allow her to work, just so that he can have that control over her. One of the other signs is sexual abuse. And one may ask, if it's an intimate partner, how can that be sexual abuse, especially when they have had consensual sex in the past? It becomes abuse when the perpetrator will force the victim into performing sexual acts that she's not comfortable with. And that a woman can always say no. Sexual abuse can also include unwanted comments, aggressive behavior. It can also include rape. And many people don't understand, how can your intimate partner rape you? Well, if he forces you into having sex or performing sexual acts that you're not comfortable with, that can be rape. Another form is physical abuse. That could include hitting, slapping, kicking, choking, pushing, shoving, anything that is perpetrated to cause physical harm or injury to an individual. Then there is financial abuse, where the perpetrator controls all of the financial resources. If the woman does not work, then she is required to ask him for whatever it is she needs. He doles out the money to her. If she does work, he may require her to bring her paycheck home, give it to him. He deposits it into an account that only he has access and control over. So she's dependent on him for everything that she needs. There is also emotional abuse. The emotional abuse is where he works on her self-esteem, takes away her dignity. He belittles her and puts her down. He may publicly humiliate her. He may tell her that she is worthless. Anything that will destroy her self-esteem. So abuse takes on all of these forms, and they're all intended to control the individual.
Sometimes asking for help is the most meaningful example of self-reliance.
Women stay in these relationships for many and varied reasons. Probably there is many reasons as there are women who stay. One of the main reasons is that of fear. She fears what the perpetrator will do to her if she leaves. She's afraid of what will happen to her once she's out there on her own. In many cases, the woman has not worked, so she has no job skills, and she's afraid of how she will be able to support herself and her family when she leaves. She may even feel like the abuse is her fault, and so she does everything that she can to make the relationship work.
Not only do we prosecute, but we offer services to the victims. The services that we are required by law to offer is basically we have to take the victim, and from the very beginning we have to inform him or her of all of their rights. That includes their right to be present at the arraignment of the defendant. We are required to let them know if there is any possible plea deal. If they have been injured, we have to give them paperwork, because there is a victim compensation fund that will compensate them for medical bills, help them with day-to-day living, such as apartment rent, heating, lighting, those things that individuals might encounter if they're trying to leave a situation in an emergency. In those unfortunate situations where somebody is killed, the victim's fund will also help the family to bury that person, reimburse them for those funeral expenses. So those are some of the programs or some of the things that we offer to the victims. We also have the numbers of shelters. If they call us and say, I need to get out and I need to get out immediately, we call those shelters. We will have them put up in shelters. At times when the shelters are full, we will actually put individuals up in a hotel. It usually takes us a little bit longer because it's a long process that you have to go through with the county to show that you have a case and it's legitimate. But we do what we can do to make sure those victims are safe and out of that situation. We have partnered up with some organizations that have even have gone out and changed the locks on homes for free for these victims, so that they could feel safer. So those are just some of the services that we offer to victims that come through our office.
Every year, more than 3 million children witness domestic violence in their homes. Children who live in homes where there is domestic violence also suffer abuse or neglect at high rates. Without help, boys who witness domestic violence are far more likely to become abusers of their partners or children as adults, continuing the cycle of violence into the next generation. Without help, girls who witness domestic violence are more vulnerable to abuse as teens and adults.
If you are a victim, male or female, let us help you. That's what we're here for. Please call us. We don't want to have another victim die on us. Please allow us to help you. Citizens of Clayton County, help your fellow citizens. Help them get out of the bad situation.
To find out more information about the Sisters Against Domestic Violence in Clayton County, please contact us at 770-896-2223, or you may visit us on the web at www.glenNetaGriffin.org. www.sistersagainstdomesticviolence.org.
Please go to ChristySims.org to donate to the Christy Sims Foundation. You can help countless other survivors of domestic violence. Please also follow me on Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, and Twitter at Christy Sims Foundation.
For more information on victim services, please feel free to contact our main line number at 770-477-3380 and ask to speak to a victim service advocate. Also, we can be reached on the Clayton County web, which is claytoncountyga.gov. Go to the Clayton County Solicitor General section and look for the Victim Service tabs, where you will find the name and numbers of all of my victim service advocates.
Never be bullied into silence. Never allow yourself to be made a victim. Accept no one's definition of your life.
How can you help? Say it. Learn about these issues and talk openly about them. Break the silence. Speak out. Seek help when you see this problem or harassment of any kind in your family, your community, or your workplace. Share it. Help raise awareness about domestic violence and sexual assault by sharing information on your social media pages and with friends and family who may be in need. And show it. Show your support by partnering with groups working to end domestic violence and sexual assault and volunteering in your community.
My message to the victims and survivors of domestic violence is that you are not the problem. You don't have to be ashamed. You don't have to feel guilt. The villain in this, a lot of the times, is silence, isolation. The abuser uses your shame, your guilt against you. Domestic violence is about control, and it is about power. You can regain your power by just creating dialogue, telling those around you what you're dealing with, having a plan. You don't have any reason to be ashamed. You are not alone. You are not alone. There are so many women. This is not about any particular socioeconomic status. It's not about you being weak. The strongest women, it happened to me, the strongest women are sometimes victims of domestic violence. You are not alone.
I'm Betty Jones, and I survived domestic violence.
My name is Christy Sims, and I survived domestic violence.
Find out about services available to domestic violence victims in Clayton County, or connect with the statewide Georgia 24-hour domestic violence hotline at 1-800-33-HAVEN, or visit www.gcfv.org.